you look at Manchester United as a football club, and you say to us in all seriousness, with a serious face, that you cannot find someone better in the world of football, then there's something wrong with what you're selling. Ratcliffe is the best in class in his business. But when I listened to his interviews during the summer with Bloomberg, I was surprised at some of the things that he said. I felt that some of the things that he was saying were strange, naive and uninformed. With due respect to Dave Brailsford, this is the blind leading the deaf.
Manchester United, who folded again in front of their own fans at Old Trafford, in front of Liverpool. Liverpool dominant yesterday, won it 3-0, could have been more. And of course the man in charge is one Eric Ten Hag. And of course Sir Jim Ratcliffe, now a big part of the football club, having bought a considerable share of the football club from the Glazers. Sir Jim Ratcliffe asked at a Times Business Summit in the summer why he's chosen to hold on to Ten Hag.
Because he's a good coach.
Yeah,
he's a good coach. He was very good at Ajax. The man in the street likes to think that the coach is everything, and everything. The world revolves around the coach. And maybe it did in the days of Alex Ferguson, because Alex Ferguson was more of a general manager than just a coach. He was a lot more than that. But if you look at that 11 seasons in Manchester United, we've had a whole series of coaches, and some of them are very good ones. We've probably had 7 coaches, and none of them have succeeded at all. You can't ascribe the root of the problem to the coach, can you? It's the environment in which they're working. It's and that's really where we're putting all our efforts, is into the management, the practices, the quality of the people, all those types of things that we have to address.
I mean, could those comments come back to haunt him, Simon? You think Ten Hag in the weeks and months to come is on borrowed time, do you not?
I do. Whether that turns out to be the case, because they feel that they need to give him more time. What he's laying the foundations there for is the fact that once they've got their infrastructure right, then the coach will take the benefit of it. And clearly he believes, for whatever reason he believes it, that the infrastructure that they have there previously hasn't been sufficient enough to help the coach, and the coach is immune from being responsible for player selections, the culture of the football club and the management of the players. I think that's probably half true to some extent, because I think some of the infrastructure around Manchester City has enabled them to fly. But the main reason that they have flown to the levels that they're flying to now, not like Icarus, but just because they can, is because of the coach. And behind the scenes, they may well have very sophisticated people, as you should at an enterprise that turns over £700-800 million a year in a small business like a football club. But the bottom line is that Pep Guardiola is the difference. For whatever reason, they alighted. I understand the reasons why they wanted to review all the confected outrage during the summer about how long it was taking them to review it. He wasn't their appointment. So by definition, if he wasn't their appointment, they were going to have to find themselves in a space where they reviewed someone else's appointment. They alighted upon staying with the same thing. I felt that was a mistake. But there's also an argument raging amongst people that do and don't know that's because they couldn't find someone better. If you are Manchester United, irrespective of the paltry nature of your achievements, you can dress up a League Cup and an FA Cup as something meaningful and finish 8th in the league with your worst record in the Premier League era, and you can dress it up as Ten Hag has done, and so he should, because he's got to dress it up, because no one's going to dress it up for him because it's in the firing line. But the bottom line is if you look at Manchester United as a football club, as an operation, and you say to us in all seriousness, with a serious face, that you cannot find someone better in the world of football, then there's something wrong with what you're selling.
Right. In other words, Ratcliffe, it was incumbent upon Ratcliffe and the rest of them to go out and find somebody better than Ten Hag because they're out there.
But there is this perception that, with due respect to Dave Brailsford, this is the blind leading the deaf. What was it about the England coach, Clive Woodward, that went into Southampton was such a revelation? What was it about Dave Brailsford? Yes, the sum of marginal games. Yes, of course we understand all that. But Graeme will pick this cudgel up and run like a 100-metre sprinter across the line with a baton about people around you that give you the knowledge to be able to make the right decisions. And everything with Man United is about scale. The scale of expectation and scrutiny on Manchester United is bigger than any football club besides Real Madrid, I suspect. So that means you've got people, and Ratcliffe is the best in class in his business. But when I listened to his interviews during the summer with Bloomberg, and I am in no means drawing comparisons between my football knowledge and anyone else's, but I was surprised at some of the things that he said. For someone as accomplished as he is and as successful as he is in his field, I felt that some of the things that he was saying were strange, naive and uninformed. And that's just and that was not me looking to be critical, because quite frankly, for me, the poster boys of the Premier League, the ones that have brought the Premier League to the point that it's at, were Manchester United. It was no surprise to me that, when you look at it, Man United were asleep for 25 years. The Premier League comes along, they win first 4 out of 5. What does that tell you about that football club? And that was the engines, the fuel that then produced the next broadcast deal and the next broadcast deal. And now, for reasons best known to themselves, they are asleep at the wheel, whether they've got too many people that say too many things and don't do enough things. But it isn't that difficult to establish a culture. It's just about getting effective people in places and making sure people's minds are concentrated, which is what they're doing at Man City, and then having some money. And they've got plenty of money. They've spent more money than everybody else, so it ain't about money.
Well, certainly before the match against Liverpool, Graeme, Simon's touched on it. I mean, Ten Hag continues to be bullish about what, in his eyes, they've done.
We won the last 2 years behind City the most trophies in English football. So we performed already the last 2 seasons. That is the reality, that the facts. Yeah, also this year we want to win, and we want to win trophies. So I'm quite confident we will build to this, and that is what I did the last 11 years. So just patient, waiting. We will work on the process. We have to improve the process, and we will aim for our next targets, and we will go for trophies.
Graeme, do you think, by the sounds of that, Ten Hag is convinced that he's building something special?
No, I think he's spinning it. I think time and time again last year, when you've watched Man United play and they've been bang average, he's come out and made it sound as if they've been Real Madrid at the very best. And that's maybe how he sees his job. But, 8th in the league, the brand of football they played, I think they had... the stat came out again yesterday, I forget. There was only one other team that gave up chances against themselves more than Man United, and that was the team who was at the bottom of the league, whoever that was. So there's something fundamentally not right about their setup. And, the first thing you have to do when you walk into a football club is make sure you're not losing daft goals that will sap on the confidence. And that's what they've been doing. I thought they were very ordinary last year. And I don't think they're going to be much improved this year. Jim Ratcliffe comes in on day one. There was no immediate endorsement of the manager. They looked high and low all over for someone to replace him. So that tells you that much. If I had been Ten Hag, I know in Scottish terms, my jacket's on a sugary peg.
Yeah.
I mean, he's vulnerable, and I'll be amazed if he turns it around, because I look at them yesterday and I come back to it. Was it because Liverpool was so fabulous, or they were so bang average? And I think there's something in between. But I don't see them improving very much this year, if at all.
You see, we said at the time, Simon, they're not getting this right. The route to Ten Hag was wrong, Simon. They were away talking to De Zerbi apparently and Pochettino, and then Jim, they alighted on Ten Hag again.
Jim Ratcliffe saying it's not the managers. It's not since Fergie they've had like a general manager. It's not all just about the manager. How many Dutch players has he signed? Players that he would have known because he's worked with them before. Is it double figures yet? It can't be far away.
Must be close to it.
But so that's not another person within the organisation saying we should sign this Dutch player that plays for Ajax or plays for wherever. He knows them. They are his choices. I don't think anyone outside.
But did you do that? Sign players you trust?
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, I think there's always a temptation to go back to the club that you've left where you've had a good relationship.
But that's common sense. What the point is that what he's been given is a pass to suggest that the infrastructure hasn't been right.
No, but that's my point.
I know your point. I'm making your point alongside you, so I'm agreeing with you. And of course, the argument is always that managers don't get given the opportunity to influence things because they're having things foisted upon them. Well, I would imagine that most of the choices that have been made have been pretty much his, without exception, I would suggest. And if you look at them, I don't think any of them have come through at this moment in time with a shining light attached to them, whether it's the boy Anthony, who's tantamount to being absolutely useless, till you look across that pitch and you look across the group of players that are there, and it's none of them, not the goalkeeper, not any of them, can come away with any great credit at this moment in time. They've had a couple of games, I thought they were half decent against Fulham in the first game. I think Brighton's a difficult game for everybody. Everyone keeps on underestimating Brighton. Everyone keeps on thinking
they got away with the Fulham result. They got away with the Fulham result.
It was
very late.
As an opening game of the season, I thought it was an entertaining game, and I thought there was more about United that looked positive than there was about the negative. Traore is a handful. He'll give anybody a handful for periods of a game. But Brighton will this idea that Brighton rock up to every single game are ranked as underdogs. It's going to have to go, because this is a really proper Brighton side that give everybody a lot of trouble.
Let's hear the other side of this from Manchester United fans. I mean, Liverpool won so comfortably. There's Rob. Morning, Rob. Ineos took a punt on Ten Hag based on that superb FA Cup win. They've realised they made the wrong choice. Ten Hag will be gone by Christmas. And other people around who are good, you bet there are. Serie A, full of them. Simone Inzaghi, for one, doing a great job at Inter. That's according to Rob. Where's your head, United fans, this morning? Where's your head with Ten Hag? Give us a call. 03717 223344.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.